I'm happy that, like, it just now occurred to me, even though I'm obviously aware of it, that my two new additional favorite characters in this are Alia and Dynamo, and it's because they actually get fucking explored as characters a little bit.
What was the Skyver's title?
Oh! Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, God, you would say it, like, right as my favorite one comes up, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Skyver is Air Force Prince, Spyro Pegasus, the Skyver. So, Spyro Pegasus is better. Like, all of them are better, obviously.
Anything's better than the Skyver.
It's kind of neat. So, fucking coolest one! Not even bias. Jurassic Inferno Burn Dinorex Matrex, which I know Tyrannosaurus weren't Jurassic or fucking whatever. There's your dinosaur trivia. I don't care. He's still one of my favorites, and I am super biased. I also don't give a shit. Super cool. His stage is not. Don't worry about it. His stage is not. His stage sucks. This stage is... God, I don't know if it's my least favorite stage in this game or not. It's real close.
What's the competition?
Dark Dizzy's. Oh my god, let me think. Well, I need to, like, look at the boss portraits in here. Fucking Volt Kraken, Dark Necrobat's pretty garbage.
So this game doesn't have good stages.
No, it's 50-50, because I really like... Skyver's is neutral, so not 50-50, but I love Crescent Grizzlies, mostly because of the music, but I like Convoys, and I don't know why, because, like, I think we talk about it in our X4 team-up run with Aces, where it's just like, God, the train stage is really boring, because it's really...
Games Freak, not Aces.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Games Freak. I was thinking X3. It's because I was thinking one back and we're on X5 now, but I'm thinking it... Anyway, Games Freak, really boring stage, because it's so flat and there's not a lot of verticality to it and stuff. It's like, I get that, but for some reason I still like those levels, and I don't know why. I think it's mostly, like, as long as there's only one of them. And the reason why I excuse Crescent Grizzlies is because, because there's multiple of those flat ones, like Dark Necrobats is basically identical. I excuse his because A, the theming is better, and B, the music is better. And it makes a little bit more sense, like, you're going across flat land because you're on a truck convoy, as opposed to you're going across flat land because how do we fucking design an observatory? Fuck it, just fly in a straight line, there's spikes. It's like, alright, one of these is clearly more interesting than the other. But yeah, some of my favorite stages are like trains, convoys, shit like that.
So that lava's an instant kill, right?
That lava's an instant kill, and I just talked over like the entire reason that this is arguably one of the worst stages in this game.
It comes back up. Here we
exactly. Go. This is why it's terrible, because it does come back up, it keeps coming back up, it will not stop coming back up, and it's just like, if you are trying to convey a sense of urgency and dire need to escape, then stop making me stand still in harm's way. It's out of character, it's needless for the player, and it's just fucking annoying.
God, she needs to shut the fuck up and get it all handled in one text dump.
Yeah, and this one exemplifies this the most. This is why I've been avoiding talking about it a whole lot so far, because this stage is easily the worst Alias stage in this game over... I think it's the worst Alias stage, period. It's just like, there's so much repetitiveness to it, and in Phase 2 of this stage, or like after we get through this segment and it loads the next area, kind of like it did all the time in X4, it's just, you tell me one thing, tell me the one thing. You take 2 steps, and then she basically just says the exact same thing, but in a different phrasing. It's like, no, you just told me that. And like, this is basically doing the same thing. It's like, watch out, there's lava. Wait, there's lava. Better wait, like, get in front of the lava. Hey, get behind that rock to avoid that lava. It's like, you just... Stop for a second. It's okay. I figured it out the first time. It's not complicated.
Or use good game design and don't have text dumps at all.
And that's the thing is, honestly, if this stage didn't have that, I'd like it a lot more, because it does have good stage design. The shadowing there is really clever. All they would need to do is make it so that when you drop down into the lava area, extend the hallway so that it's longer from left to right, and make it so that no matter what speed you're going, you will see the lava go by at least once higher up. So, like, maybe have it so that you're walking on the top half of the screen and the lava's going by on the bottom half of the screen. That way you have to see it happen, and that immediately teaches you that something terrible is down there, and when you see that the only way to progress is down, you'll probably figure out what the fuck to do. So,
probably, yes. Also, I learned that one of the text boxes was, shoot the door, the only thing at this dead end. What else would I possibly do? God damn it.
This is the one that I was talking about, too, the immediate repetitiveness is like, you might be able to go into the lava or progress forward, and then you progress forward, and she literally explains that concept to you again, but twice as long. It's like, the choice is yours, now choose. It's like, let me and I will. Though speaking of this is actually an interesting branching path in general, because not a lot of stages do heavy differences in path branching. Granted, most of the stages don't do them, period. This one, you either get, scary, instant death but justified sort of trap, where it's like, hey, your right armor dies down here, you are going to instantly get killed. And you know what? That's pretty fair, considering where you're at. I'm okay with that. No kind of spike debate between Myth and I. It's just like, you're under lava, you're gonna die, it's whatever. I don't know why it's an open canopy.
Yeah.
Reusing assets, it's whatever. And then the top path is actually a full mini-boss fight against, a robot Ridley, for some reason.
Which you can see regularly.
Yeah, so both of them are covered in our videos. You can go check out the other one if you want. Same day, same video. But I just think that's kind of cool. It's like, you can either take the optional mini-boss or the really treacherous route. And it's like, that's cool. I kind of wish more of them did that.
And the treacherous route gives you plenty of opportunities to fill up your sub-tank.
Which is exactly why I took it in this one, because this is around the time where I realized that when you... So this isn't one clean run. We had to take lots of different breaks and stuff, so the game got turned off and on a lot. Sub-tank amount doesn't save. And I think that's actually across the board. I'm pretty sure it does the same thing in the Super Nintendo games, because of the password entry. Mm-hmm. I just can't confirm that because they're all short enough for you to usually do in one sitting. So in this one, I found out, how do I not have a sub-tank yet? And then I realized that you reset, and it's gone. So it's like, fuck, alright.
And you found out in the middle of a boss fight, and then we had to scrap that entirely.
Exactly. So now I'm like, yeah, And since you're in the right armor, you will heal without taking any damage. Why not? That's my justification for showing you both paths. There you go. Didn't need to know, but there's not a lot else to talk about. Except for that, well, this is kind of like the sea of lava. It's like, Ilya, what are you talking about? Is that a location that we should be aware of, or are you just being translated poorly again? The answer is both. The answer is probably just the second one.
One thing I really don't like about the PlayStation games is the loading screens. Loading in general I don't like, but it's the PlayStation, you kind of don't have a choice. But just teleporting in on the second half of the stage kind of ruins the continuity between the two halves of the stages.
I can maybe justify it as okay, you've cleared out that first section, so now it's safe to beam in behind enemy lines, you're not going to get flanked from behind. The problem that I have with that, in what you're saying, is the fact that, it doesn't look like the two stages are connecting.
You walk through a door and then you're teleporting in somewhere completely different.
Yeah, so it's I guess you could also justify it as oh fuck, it wasn't in this area, okay, teleport me to area B and I'll start the search over, but they don't mention that, so that's probably not it. So, Burn Dinorex is pretty cool, in my opinion. And this is me grasping to make him cool because I'm biased. But, he's one of the only ones that's outright a bad guy, kind of. So his story is that he was, I think, Repliforce. Yeah, he was Repliforce. But he was already kind of not a maverick, but not a good guy. He wasn't infected, just kind of a dick. And he has been stockpiling weapons and ammunition and kind of just becoming an illegal arms dealer. So when you come to find the engine, or whatever part he's got, you only know about it because we found out that you're a fucking arms trafficker, give me this, and then turn yourself in. And he's like, I'm not gonna fucking cooperate with you, I'm already a bad guy. So it's actually just a legit, I'm a dick. And on the one hand, fuck you for always making the reptiles the bad guys, but on the other hand, kudos for having an interesting sub-storyline there that makes me invested in one of these boss fights, and also justifies the battle in the first place. That's cool. It's almost like the Dragoon one, except I like this character in Dragoon, so...
So then why is everyone but the squid and the bear so mouth-breathingly retarded?
Well, that's the thing, is he's not. It's debatable, because it's why aren't you helping?
Help me save the world.
But he's already a dick, so it's alright, fine. He's the middle ground. Everyone else is really dumb, and everyone else is like, okay, kind of justified. And he's just, I'm also here! But yeah, he's got some of my favorite attacks in this game. Like, he does some creative stuff. He's up there with Bolt Kraken, I think, for like, this is cool. I don't know, did he already do the dash forward? There it is, that exact thing that I was going to say.
I like that this game has a feathered T-Rex.
Basically. Except they're gas burners. But yeah, I like him a lot. Bias as fuck. There's actually a design note for him.
We should have made him cooler.
I know there's one in here for him. Let's see. Maybe it was on the,
Fantastic.
It might have been on the website. It was basically just, I love designing him, I'm so glad they gave him a badass name. It's like, yeah!
And then it got translated to shit.
But still one of the okay ones. Like, it's not the best, like, it's not Grizzly Slash. Grizzly Slash, I think, is, like, tops for, like, you know what, that stands alone pretty well, that's fine. But Matrex at least sounds a little bit more like a non-force name than, like, Duff McWhalen or something. Like, before I knew that it was a Guns N' Roses thing, it's like, alright. But then it's like, we named him after Matt. Okay, cool, thanks. So,
it sounds like some form of construction equipment.
I can see that. Like a brand of something, like a Komatsu forklifts or whatever.
Sure.
I only know that because I drove one for a while. Yeah. So, look, it's everybody's favorite Maverick Hunter, Axel. Oh no, I mean, wait a minute. Also, we're going to cover it in another video with someone else, so I won't go too much into screaming about it, but look, it's Guns N' Roses!
Not even it's handguns. God damn it.
Yeah, they're giant magnums and a fence covered in roses. I think there's an Axel the Red. Oh, speaking of, True Crimson Illusionist, Spike Rosered, Axel the Red. I love that it's like, it has to be Red Rose. You're not going to figure that out. Rose Red. I designed Rose Red so that when he stands straight with his hands over his head, he looks like a three-potted flower blossom. Which his hands are also roses, so... Okay.
Fantastic.
God, I swear that was in here somewhere. But yeah. That's all of them. You got Olio boss notes.
Hey, Alia, you taught us this shit in the fucking intro stage.
Yeah. And then...
Why?
And then I start doing it, and then I remember, oh, wait a minute, I have the Falcon armor. Nothing matters. So those black boxes, I'll come back to those in the collection episode, which is next. But I really like those black boxes, and I will explain it more then. It makes it so that you're not just using an armor to bypass the whole stage. Like, look at me bypassing this whole level. It sucks, because I like this level. This would be probably one of my other preferred ones in this. It's just by the time I get to it, I don't have to worry about any of the layout, because I can just fly through it. And it's like, I love the Falcon armor. I love its mechanic. I do, but at the same time, I wish it wasn't in the game. Oh! And this is me showing those fuckers off. I'm sad I missed it the first time. It'll come up again, so I'll bring it up again then, so that's a little bit more visible while I'm talking about it. But they're assholes! Like, those are just dickbag enemies, because you're supposed to see them and know that they're going to come down, and a couple enemies are like that in the classic stages, wherein it's like, here's a kind of compressed cone, that's probably going to spike down, and then they're also on a timer, so you see them doing it, and that's fine. In this one, they are, no exaggeration, a single green pixel that only come down when you're point blank against them. So it's like, what? What do you expect me to do? Like, I'm gonna get hit. Like, there was one. Do you see that? I think, yeah. Like, I'm going back to maybe show it up. Okay. Almost did.
I'll highlight.
But there's other ones, too. There's ones that come from off the top of the screen where you can't even see the pixel. So it's like, why would you think that that's acceptable? Especially over those, because I'm pretty sure if they hit you, unless you're really paying attention or like you jump first, it'll knock you off the wire hook and you'll die. So it's like, don't do that. Just, Jesus, at least put spikes there. Like, I'd rather deal with that because I can at least see.
Especially considering this was back in the CRT days, so you're not going to fucking see a single pixel.
That hadn't even occurred to me. So, we just completed one of my two favorite armors in the series. Or, well, one of my favorite armors in the series. I like a bunch. But, I'm so excited to start using this.
Because you can walk on the damaged area?
You could do a lot of things with it, but yeah, the damaged area. And this is actually kind of vaguely interesting trivia, which you probably already know, but maybe not. This is the first instance in the entire franchise where you can permanently walk over spikes. There's items that will like either take you down to 1 HP, and then you get your invincibility frames and you can get back out. There's items that'll like let you hit them once, and then once you leave and go back in, you'll die. I think it's just 1 HP thing. But there's never a permanent one until the Gaia arc, which I think that's neat. That's like a good other natural progression in the series where it's like, hey,
also,
yeah, no, just... God, I'm so mad.
This is a game full of great ideas.
It's a game full of great ideas that are executed badly.
And wonderful perspective.
Also, I really want that booster engine. Look at how usable it looks in the background, because I'm assuming that's the one we're talking about.
Probably.
I like his intro.
That's pretty...
It's neat. But yeah, I actually kind of like his justification for fighting, too. It's like, you can't just fucking take my things. Get out of here, you asshole. Which I'm willing to accept because I assume he's already part Maverick, so he's just kind of whacked out, but he's still using some semblance of logic.
No, he says, bitch, leave, or I'll call the Maverick Hunters. X, just say, bitch, I am the Maverick Hunter. Let me take this to make it so you don't explode.
I wonder if Maverick Hunters get to flash their badge. Because they do have an insignia. It's right here, maybe, if Myth does it.
I'm not going to do it.
Why would you do that? Oh, well, it's on the thumbnail of all of the Hunter versions. So, there you go. You have it, like, 30 times over.
80.
No. Because it's the Maverick logo on the Maverick versions.
80 total.
Not yet, though. So...
80 total!
I love Burn Dinorex so much. I hate his weapon. It's so bad. It's so slow and inconvenient. Because those projectiles might target, but I'm pretty sure they're just random. They're probably just random.
They're random.
Fuck that. Because the projectile on its own is really slow. And, like, his invincibility frames are tolerable with it when you hit it. But he's got a double, or a soul body sort of thing going on where he'll, like, make a duplicate of himself, like, you know, Split Mushroom, Gemini Man, that whole thing. But the other one is completely immune, and they'll actually jump in patterns where it's, like, hard to tell which one is which until they enter this kind of phase. So eventually, you'll probably end up shooting at the one that's very clearly him, and then the game's like, nope, surprise, it's not him, it just, like, wasted a shot. And it's, like, not the worst thing, but it's just like, come on, just fucking shoot the guy. Like, I know, it's cute, but let's go, like, let's move on. That's my whole thought on that boss fight. His weapon's kind of cool, but I don't think I use it a single time. There'll be a weapon specialist.
We haven't been focusing too heavily on the actual dialogue, but in this game, X really comes across like Zero does in the translated version of Extreme 2, where he's just like, I don't even want to deal with you assholes. I'm just going to kick your ass and take what I need. Don't have time for this shit. It's like, X, come on, just be a little more pacifist, please.
I think that's mostly down to translation. The difference between that and Solar Racer Extreme 2, in my head, and it's a little bit justification because I prefer X, there is literally a time limit, and everyone is being a fucking dick about it. So it's like, look, I don't want to fight you. You know that because you know me. God damn it, I have to do this right now. Everyone is going to die. So it's like, the stakes are high enough where it's like, I think it's alright. Like, you're not wording it in the best way, but I understand your frustration.
It's just... I wish you didn't kill somebody. I wish X was more like fucking Daredevil from the Netflix thing.
That would be great.
Daredevil is the perfect pacifist.
What I really like about how the comics, the Archie Mega Man comics, granted it's not X, but it works because they're very similar characters. I like how they handle all the fights that I've read, because like every instance of it does open up with Rock being like, I don't want to fight you, let's, just like work out peace among robots, we can be the ones to start this movement, and it's always like, I was programmed by Wily, so I don't have a choice, or it's like, I have to do this thing because I don't have a choice, it's like in our programming, whatever. And, like, there's always, he'll try to, like, not destroy them, and then, like, they'll terminate themselves because of their pride or something, and he always saves their IC chips, so at the end of that storyline, he gives them to Dr. Light so that he can rebuild them and, like, sort of reprogram them to be, like, constructive members of society. It's like, that's so in character for them as, like, a family to be like, no, you deserve a second chance, like, you didn't do any of this. And in this instance, it'd be really cool if, like, every fight for X ended in, like, oh no, I'm at 1 HP, and he's like, look, let's work this out, I'll take you back to base and reprogram. But when you're thinking of it from, like, an at-the-time game design, game mechanic style thing, it's really easy to realize why they didn't bother doing that.
Yeah.
That's, like, a lot of extra writing, it's, like, extra sprite assets to make a wounded thing for everybody. But it would be better, and that's one of the things that, like, if I could go through again and retool the whole series, as sort of cheesy Boy Scout as it is, I absolutely would include something like that, just because it fits the character.
Or set it up so, like, you have a vaccine to the Sigma virus, but it actively fights back, and you have to beat the bosses into submission before you can actually administer it, and it has a chance to actually work.
And actually, now that I think about it, I don't think we've talked about Mighty Number 9 yet.
No, we haven't.
These. And I want to.
Also, Zero's doing a thing.
Zero's vibrating real hard. I haven't been paying any attention. This is kind of goofy. One of the main things that gets mentioned every time this comes up, at least between you and I, is, why, Zero's a pilot now? What? And I think...
Well, the other pilots are Maverick now.
It's a fair justification in my mind, and I feel like probably other people would do this too, because it's not really nitpicky, it's a thing that shows up in the games. But X and Zero, in their storylines in X4, both end by flying a solo spacecraft out of an exploding space weapon. So it's like, alright, if they're basically like Maverick Hunter Black Ops, like they're top of the food chain for that organization, it's a fair bet that they know how to pilot basic vehicles and stuff. Like, I'm willing to accept that. Like, they can operate ride armors and ride chasers and, like, other vehicles, so it's like, they're also robots, so you could just, like, install, like, now you know how to do this! Fuck it!
Or do that to one of the fucking lifesavers.
That's the thing that I would say, is like, and I mean, you can tell that would also be out of character. It's like, no, I'm a self-thinking hero and I have to do it. It's like, no, literally, we've got like 12 of them back there. They're all saying the same things. Don't worry about it, they're basically surrogate bodies. But that would involve including Lifesaver way too much. And Zero has to make a tragic sacrifice. It's literally the entire point of the story, so...
die.
Yeah, it still kicks off the rest of the plot. Oh, so... that, since this part is kind of unimportant until a moment later when it is again. Mighty Number 9. So many things to discuss about that, but just because of what we were talking about. So Mighty Number 9 kind of parallels the Mega Man 1 plot, where Beck, Mighty Number 9, is the 9th in a series of several robots, or Mighty Numbers. So they're all his siblings, just like in Mega Man 1, where it's like Guts and Cut and Ice, and all of them are also light numbers, and they were just stolen by Dr. Wily. When you beat a boss in Mighty Number 9, the quote-unquote kill win animation is an actual cinematic of him absorbing their Zells. So, like, they're all made out of, like, nanomachines, as a quick crash course into that, so they can all kind of transform, and that's how they get their powers. He basically purifies them from whatever is causing them to go rogue or evil or Maverick or whatever it's called in that game. So there's an actual cinematic of him saving his siblings at the end of every fight, and then by absorbing that, his weapon change mechanic in that is a full, like, armor style change, so that he basically becomes a pseudo version of that boss. So he's, like, removing all of their negative traits and becoming them in spirit while they recover. And it's like, that's fucking amazing! And I love that idea so much, and it's like, so it works in practice. There is a game that is literally a spiritual successor to Mega Man that does that thing that we described coming out at some point. It's like,
hopefully soon. Maybe.
I'm not worried about the time limit. That's a completely different discussion. But I like the fact that it is a thing. Like, you're not wrong. Somebody in the industry was like, maybe we should have our character stop murdering everybody when he doesn't want to be doing that. And it's clearly just an instance of, like, more powerful systems and, like, the ability to write better narratives and stuff, because now we know, as opposed to all of this instances where we don't, or didn't. So that whole thing was oh shit, what just happened to the just whole planet?
Zero is virus now.
Kinda.
Right.
They don't explain it super well yet, but they will. But basically what happens is Zero impacts with the colony, and it was a virus colony, so part of the danger of it colliding with the already Sigma virus-infected planet is that it would, like, spread the rest of it throughout the world, or something. Like, it's either that or by the colony starting to rain debris down before actual impact, it was already spreading the virus. In some instance, the two events are linked. When Zero collides with the colony and explodes it, he somehow transfers the rest of his original Maverick virus into that, and the two viral programs, the Sigma virus and the Maverick virus from Zero, combine. And the energy signature is very similar to Zero's weird virus readings that they've already been reading, so that's why they end up calling it the Zero virus. It's like, alright, the Sigma virus is still doing its thing, but now it all smells like Zero, and that's fucking bizarre. What is happening? And actually, I'm glad we started talking about this, because I almost forgot I pulled this up. There is a whole wiki page that explains the levels that are coming up. And, like, loosely, it's mostly bullshit.
So yeah, we didn't get that in the irregular version.
Yeah.
So just out of the blue, like, well, this is the Zero virus now. Zero didn't do jack shit.
Zero literally was just, like, not present for most of that game. So it was just like, why are you blaming Zero? Which is mostly funny, but... Start. There it is. Because this ain't in the art book. This is maybe all speculation. I don't fucking know. Oh, but this is what I was talking about earlier, is the Gaia armor, outside of being really powerful and really cool, I love its design, I love its functions, lets you actually explore stages. So, unlike the collection and stuff from the previous games, where it's like, go back and burn this log, and there was a heart tank inside, whoa! It actually opens up alternate paths and, like, different little alcoves and stuff in the stages that you couldn't explore before. So it's almost, in the loosest way possible, like a pseudo-Metroid mechanic, where it's like you're actually backtracking and exploring a new area instead of just, like, going all the way to the end of Web Spider's stage again, just to open a log that you already walked past. It's like, this is neat. And then this particular spot, I think, is the best, because it's not just, like, destroy the thing, or, like, fight these enemies, and then at the end you get a thing. This is actually like a Zelda block puzzle. Like, you actually have to move these blocks into position without destroying them, and you can go upstream and respawn them if you do, so there's no stupid requirement of, like, uh-oh, I fucked it up, better restart the whole stage again. It's just a matter of, like, figure this puzzle out, and it's non-intrusive, it's kind of neat, it's an easy thing to figure out, and it gives you a reward at the end. It's like, do more of that. Like, if you're going to make me replay stages, do it that way.